Another day in the NBA here, and dare I say it's going to be a great slate. And if nothing else, hopefully one where no games get postponed in the middle of it. But the work continues on here on the Splash Play channel as it always does, because we're going to compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the best value plays are. We'll also go game by game, check the ownership, see where the leverage spots are. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim without my interference. I'll do a hand build, and by the end of this video, guys, you'll know all of the industry's must plays along with my splash plays for today, January 9th, 2026. Let's get into it. Yesterday's slate, just real fast, awful situation. I didn't do it, but for you guys out there, would not be a crazy thing to email DK support, see if you get your money back. This has been a thing that's happened, I believe, at least once before. There was really a noteworthy one where there was some condensation on a Pelicans game a couple of years ago. And coincidentally, it was also a slate much like yesterday, where I had a lot of the good pieces. I had LaMelo Ball at 20% exposure. But unfortunately, because of Kevin Huerter getting ruled out yesterday, I had at least one bull, if not two, three bulls in every lineup. And it really fucked up the slate for me. That was the worst slate I've had probably in months now. So not fun, but that's how it goes, unfortunately. And, you just got to dust yourself off, try again today, and pray that, today we'll have no hockey rink arenas where the water leaks through the floor and ruins everybody's nights. But shout out to anybody who did make money off of that, I guess, even though that feels like a real Pat Crane BBM win. No disrespect, but come on, that's fucking bullshit. If I won like that, though, I would also go, well, sucks for you. But I fucking lost handily with that slate yesterday. But shout out to you guys hanging out here. Worst possible simulations last night, or situation. Sorry, like worst possible simulations. Now, situations, yeah. I mean, that was definitely one of the worst situations yesterday. Today's a fun one, though. Today's an AJ Mitchell slate, guys, so that's going to be good. Let's talk about our top projected plays right now. Of course, we got the night slate guys on here, too, / they might be on FanDuel. I don't really care, at least until later when I have to do the live before lock show. But Luka Doncic, top projected guy in the slate. LeBron, a Q-tag. If LeBron is out alongside Austin Reeves, who is still out, Luka's going to look even better. Right now, Fields 24% on the DK late slate. I'm getting 0 because I'm not playing that slate. Jamal Murray, we got 35.5% ownership. I'm getting 48. He is the big stand here for me today. 10K salary for him. The rate's starting to look a little bit better with Jokic and Joe Val off the court. He's now up to about a 45% assist rate, holding steady in high 20s usage. So for Jamal Murray, it is like kind of a stiff price tag leap here to 10K. But for Denver today, team total of 117.5 facing an Atlanta team that is, pretty used to the situation without Trae Young, but also does not have the reinforcements in yet. For CJ McCollum, still waiting for this trade to go through. Not sure if it's because of physical stuff or if they're trying to expand the trade to include more guys, maybe lump in the Trae Young trade with an AD trade is a possibility for Atlanta. But either way, Atlanta playing Denver today, clearly in kind of a weird situation. Atlanta also a team where I was surprised to hear as many players come out to the media talking about how great Trae Young was for the franchise, what he meant to them, how great of a teammate he was. Like they seem kind of down about it, even though it seemed like one of those things that had to happen, and I'm sure they were aware of it. But for Jamal Murray in this spot, that doesn't really matter. He's playing an Atlanta team with a good total. Not a great defense on Atlanta's side, even though it should start to get a little bit better because not having any trade exposure at all. But Jamal Murray at a 10K salary, I'm at a 54.6 projection. Stokastic has been 52.5. You're going to get him with both of those projections, but Stokastic has been 36% ownership. I'm getting 48. And the slate was a bitch slap. It is. That's unfortunately gambling. Like the way that I feel about it is like, it's really tilting. It sucks to me to lose 90% of my buy-in, like 100%. But that said, it happens. And I think you just got to be willing to take those lumps, even though it sucks. And, look, I think with DraftKings, a lot of these sites, they do reimburse for injuries and betting stuff now. I don't think it'd be crazy to reimburse in DFS on a slate like that, but it is what it is. Shout out Ugly 8 Game, who had a nice, I believe, tournament win yesterday. Chris Spags works hard to produce great content. He deserves our support. Thank you for that $20 super chat, Ugly 8 Game. I appreciate that a bunch, but congrats to you too. Again, always glad to see the guys in the community here who have been putting in their time, doing the work. And also Ugly 8 Game's been a member too, so glad to see that. But always glad to hear you guys doing well. And again, it's a process. You can't win every day. Even just winning a little bit of money. Like I know other channels out there might tell you like, I win every night. No, you fucking don't. But like a night like yesterday, especially if you pull off the win there, more power to you because you got to take the wins where you can get them. Giannis, another late slate play, 19% ownership for the field. Again, doesn't matter to me, but 11K salary, 55-point projection. Giannis firmly in play today as he continues his West Coast stint. Apparently, read that in an interview with the, was it Sam Amick? It was one of the athletic guys who's got some clout. Basically, he reiterated over and over again, like, I'm not going to ask for a trade, but I'm just an employee if they trade me. And he also gave himself some outs, too, where he's like, oh, my agents, like, if they might talk about something, but, like, I'm not going to request it. I'll never request a trade. It's kind of weird. I like Giannis generally as a guy. Again, doesn't matter for the main slate, but Giannis, still on Milwaukee, and apparently might continue to be on Milwaukee forever if they don't get rid of him. Jalen Johnson is on our main slate, though, getting 15% ownership for the field. I am also getting 15. Jalen Johnson obviously has been one of the biggest winners on the year for Trae Young's role shifting down, now being entirely gone off the team, assuming that there isn't a physical that gets rejected or something. But for Jalen Johnson, 10-8 salary makes him a little bit tougher to get to. He obviously has that 70 fantasy point ceiling, but it does not feel like we've seen that upside lately. But again, a good total spot versus Denver. Denver themselves certainly depleted with no Jokic, no Joe Val. So Jalen Johnson in the spot. Your biggest concern is maybe just adjusting for the fact that we playing at altitude as a guy that does normally play. Mid 30s minutes can get up to high 30s minutes. But for Jalen Johnson at 10-8 salary, that's the toughest part for me. Just can't really afford him. I'll tell you what, though, if you can afford Jamal Murray and Jalen Johnson in a lineup that still looks good, that is a fun little correlation for your two studs in the slate that are priced not as high as like studs traditionally are, and your Wemby, your Jokic, your Giannis here. Denny Avdia, another late slate guy. He projects well, as he always does. He's been a demon lately. I always like Avdia. Always talk about him kindly whenever we get at least one or two of our Trailblazers out. Drew Holiday still doubtful. So at this point, you're getting Drew and Jeremy Grant still unavailable. Denny Avdia's going to keep doing what he's been doing as long as those guys stay out. When Drew comes back in, it's probably the time to hop off the Avdia train. For now, I probably would not, no matter what matchups he's in. And the field's at 33% for the late slate. Jaylen Brown fields at 10%. I'm getting 26.7. He's one of the highest usage players in the NBA with his 36% usage rate. Again, playing really well overall with 1.36 fantasy points per minute. Defense probably gets a little bit easier going against him today with Toronto having no Scotty Barnes. He's been downgraded to doubtful, so that's basically out. But for Jaylen Brown here at 9,500, not as well projected as Jamal Murray for sure. Not as well projected as Jalen Johnson, but a tier behind, probably easier to afford. So Jaylen Brown, I'm going to get 27%. The field's at 10. Not a big stand here, but on a slate where we don't have anybody that we're really flocking to pay up to, I think Jaylen Brown is one of those guys you get instead of Jamal Murray. Tyrese Maxey fields at 4%. I'm getting 7. Joel Embiid upgraded probable, so don't see this one moving too much. My projection is about 1.8 fantasy points higher on Tyrese Maxey than Stokastic's. He's always a tournament option for me. As I talk about, feels like a lot of slates where he's under 5%. Donovan Mitchell's under 5%. They tend to win those slates with a decent amount of frequency, anecdotally. But Tyrese Maxey today, 4% owned. I'm getting 7. It's enough of a stand on a guy that's under 5% owned. Kawhi Leonard, still no Bogdanovich, but James Harden in, Zubac in. I don't really see the 7% ownership for Kawhi with him at a $9,800 price tag. Thankfully, no longer priced over 10K like he was for that one game with Harden being out. But Kawhi, the Clippers, getting a little bit closer to full strength. Hard for me to love him as much. He's been great this year. He's just not quite as good of a player when you have Zubac on, when you have Harden on. It's just two guys that kind of ruin the game. And for Zubac in particular, I think kind of fuck up the spacing for Kawhi in a way where the results go hand in hand with him not being as good with Zubac on the field. Even though he is still playing well across the board, he's not playing $9,800 well, in my opinion. James Harden fields at 9%. I'm getting 13. A little bit cheaper at 9,100. Projection for me, pretty close to Kawhi. Stokastic, though, does have Kawhi 2 points higher than James Harden. But Harden getting field at 9%. I'm getting 13. Again, not big stands here. Nobody amongst the top paid options besides Jamal Murray looks like a particularly good play. But James Harden, an okay one at 9,100. It's a Clippers total today. Clippers going against Brooklyn, but the total's not that good. 215.5 for the combined game, 110 for the Clippers. That's tough. Yeah, I have Kawhi producing a little bit under his season average at 1.32 fantasy points a minute, probably for having Zubac in. And I've got Harden today flat with his season average of 1.25, so that's part of why I'm getting more Harden and less Kawhi. Jalen Brunson fields at 20. I'm getting 13%. The Knicks still no Josh Hart, but Towns in, everybody else who matters in. They're facing Phoenix on the road. Not a bad total of 228.5, pretty much dead even on the slate with a lot of other ones. I think the appeal for a guy like Brunson is that he's not AJ Mitchell in a slate where 80% of the field plus is going to play AJ Mitchell. But Jalen Brunson, 8,600. A little bit cheap for his price tag, for sure. Or for his projection, rather, at 44.3. Projection for me, 44.1 for Stokastic. But the field's at 20%. I'm getting 13, despite having him as a 5.2x value. I think it's tough to pay up for a point guard that's not the full pay up options of point guard today, because a lot of the value is going to be at point guard, in particular AJ Mitchell. So Brunson here, not coming up a lot, but I have no issue with the field's 20% ownership. And then Jalen Williams, no Y on OKC. You have SGA out, Chet Holmgren out, Hartenstein out, Jalen Williams with a Y still out. Caruso, questionable. I don't know why he would possibly play, but I guess he might. If you get Caruso out, looks even better. But Jalen Williams right now fields at 60% rounded up, rounded up. I'm at 62%. Jalen Williams about a 44 projection, 7,500. Also a little bit too cheap here. Hard to critique him. Before we go to the value stuff, let's go to NBA Wowie. Look at Oklahoma City. This is where we're going to see some of our Jalen Williams stuff and everybody else on the team as well. Take off SGA. And let's just take off these two. Otherwise, the sample size is going to get a little bit too short. Why did it put him back on? Hate it when it does that. All right, so about 308 possessions for AJ Mitchell this year, 1.1 fantasy points minute with SGA and Holmgren off the court. Brandon Carlson, 1.2 fantasy points minute with SGA and Holmgren off the court. There are no other bigs, so Brandon Carlson kind of becomes a shitty version of Chet Holmgren basically in this offense. He is going to be another of our top values on the day. Going down the order here, Kenrich Williams produces like crazy. These guys off the court, 22% usage, good rebound rate, some assists as well, 8 assists per 100 possessions, 1.1 fantasy points a minute. You go down further, Jalen Williams has not played a lot without these guys. Obviously, the OKC team doesn't really stagger their starters too much, so you do get Jalen Williams mostly playing with SGA, mostly playing with Holmgren. If you take those guys off the court for 70 possessions this year, you're talking about 41% usage for Jalen Williams, 1.44 fantasy points per minute. Let's extend this a little bit more just for Jalen. Oh, I want to go back a year, not a month. Jalen Williams going back to last year with no SGA, no Holmgren. So now you're talking about a really big sample size. 35% usage, 9 assists per 100. Again, 1.4-ish fantasy points per minute. AJ Mitchell would look less good if you take last year's sample size, but he's just an entirely different player. Like, I think if you're going to take a rate from last year, I would take Wiggins' rate from last year. I would take Jalen Williams' rate from last year. Maybe Kenrich Williams too. Take the longer-term sample size for those guys. For AJ Mitchell, for Brendan Carlson, I'd probably focus more on this season and what they look like because, especially AJ Mitchell, like he just wasn't that good last year. This year, I think he's like a very good player. And I've said that for a while. But having no SGA in, you're going to get a lot of thunder. Jalen Williams with no Y, probably you make the case would look even better than the 44 fantasy points I'm giving him. Let's sort by value next. And you know the deal, guys. Now's a good time to hit that like button and subscribe because I am just the guy showing up and doing the work here. I did an hour and a half plus of NFL streams before this one. I shoved some stew in my face, did all the post-production I had to do on that. I showed up here and did the work for you guys because that's what we promise here on the Splash Play channel. Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. I show up and show you guys my data, do the best I can. Saturday, you also get my projections still if you join the channel. But basically, I love the NBA. I enjoy what I do here, and I keep showing up and doing the work. So hopefully you guys will do the same as well by hitting that like button and subscribe and help me keep fighting that YouTube algorithm where about 60% of you guys are not subscribed right now because the channel's growing at a good rate. But you should be. Join the channel here. Let's keep growing things. Let's make this the biggest NBA channel we possibly can. Check out Stokastic too, 15% off, link down below. And then use the promo code SPLASH when you go over there. It gets you 15% off any weekly package, monthly, cheap stuff, expensive stuff. Do check it out because it supports the show, and I am greatly concerned about my affiliate money with Stokastic's recent tech issues. And of course, join the Discord here, $5 to join. And to be clear, you do not get my projections in the $5 tier, but you do get to join the Discord. You do get to be in the live chats. And of course, if you get the higher dollar tiers, the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tier, you get either my matchup screen or my projections exportable. So join that stuff. Check it out down below. And you just join as a $5 guy and you're good to go. And thank you. I am grinding that poll indeed, Tiffany. That's as we all are in some way. We're all grinding that poll. AJ Mitchell, top value on the slate. So this is why he's on the thumbnail. I have him at a 39 projection rounding up. Stokastic has him at 37, so I am not crazy here. And he's produced about 1.1 and change fantasy points a minute with SGA and Chet Holmgren off the court. Fields at 83%. I'm getting 96. AJ Mitchell, just one of those guys to me, always looks good. It helps too. No case on Wallace today. So you don't have the other point guard who could theoretically take some work away. If you get Caruso out, it's just AJ Mitchell really is going to be your primary distributor. So minutes look good to me. He's a good player. He's 5K. Find it hard to believe he kills you, even if he gives you 30 on the slate. I think he would still make a winning lineup most likely unless point guard just goes nuts. So to me, not a guy to fade. I don't think he's in every lineup play necessarily. But if I got him in every lineup, I don't think I would turn it off either. So that's how I'm feeling about AJ Mitchell today. Game theory wise, I guess you can make the case to just like play him in half your lineups and then see what the other half can do without him. And that's honestly probably just general game theory for any DFS slate where there is a mega chalk player like an AJ Mitchell. I just find it hard to believe that he would fail. And that's it. Why do you ask the dumbest shit? Why would he be a top value? I can't, man. Not today. He's not a top projected player. The guys who are projected well are the top projected guys. The total is awful for the game versus the Clippers. Clippers are one of the lowest paced teams in the league. I love you, George, but you're killing me when you ask about guys that have no relevance to the slate, really. Oof. Brandon Carlson, 3,500. He will likely be your starting center today for OKC. 55% ownership. Fields at 77. Or I'm at 77. Fields at 55. Carlson, to me, again, another big producer, another good producer, should get reliable minutes because of not having any bigs left for the seam with Hartenstein and with Jalen Williams out. For the spot today for OKC, you are also playing a Memphis team where you generally want a big man against them, even though they don't have Edey. They're still playing Landale enough. They're still playing Jaren Jackson, obviously a good amount. But for Brandon Carlson, it's a high projection for sure at 26.4 for me. Stokastic has him at 25.4, so I'm not crazy off market. But it's a lot of ownership for Carlson. I'm still getting more. He's in 77% of my lineups, as I mentioned. Fields at 55. Kenrich Williams is one that I feel a little bit less good about. 3,400 power forward center. He will probably be your backup center, quote unquote. And he's a really good producer across every category. So I don't know if I want to hold at 2/3 of my lineups having Kenrich Williams, but he is 3,400, a good value here. Think that, the starters are going to be the ones you want the most. So most likely AJ Mitchell, Brandon Carlson, you're going to be your key ones. But your bench guys for OKC, they have a lot of opportunity too, because you're losing so many overall possessions. Like we always talk about here, no Chet, no SGA, Hartenstein and Jalen Williams matter a little bit less because they've been out enough recently. But in case on Wallace too, frankly, like it's a lot of minutes, a lot of possessions that are just gone into the embers now. Have to go somewhere. And OKC still a good team with a lot of guys that hit shots at a really above league average rate. So Isaiah Joe, Kenrich Williams, you get these guys. I'm not super excited about Isaiah Joe at 23% exposure for me, but they all should be probably popping up at about a quarter of your lineups because any of them can hit, and they're not as assured of a thing as Mitchell or Carlson if he starts, in my opinion. But you still want to get exposure there because there's too many touches to go around. Jalen Williams. So he is a guy that is in a situation that's different from the usual, a little bit cheaper than he should be for the spot with no SGA, no Holmgren. As a result, he's a guy that would pop up as a top value. Fields at 59%, I'm getting 62. So he's a top projected player, not the top projected player, but one of them. And he's a top value play. So he's a guy that's probably going to make a lot of lineups easily. He's probably one of your first guys in cash game build, really Mitchell, Carlson, Jalen Williams, Derek Queen, like probably your first four to make that lineup. And you probably put Jamal Murray on top of that as well. But Jalen Williams, no critique of him really, besides the fact that, I want to play other guys too. Derek Queen, minutes up for him, price tag down from at 6,200. Today projected to play about 30 minutes by Stokastic. Fields at 52% ownership. I'm getting 50. He's power forward center. That helps out a little bit as well. And expecting one of my center spots to go to Brandon Carlson pretty frequently today. But Derek Queen, another guy who is benefiting from just getting more run on the court lately. He's also playing Washington today. Makes it easier for him to have that triple-double-ish upside that he does theoretically contain with his rebounding and his assisting. If you get if you get Trey Murphy out, it'll look even better for Derek Queen, just taking one more high-usage body off the court. But right now, Derek Queen just a little bit too cheap for the matchup and how many peripherals there are to go around in a pace-up spot versus Washington. And a shorthanded Washington at that. Aaron Wiggins, Fields at 45%. I'm at 13. I'm a little bit confused by this one. Wiggins has been much worse this year. He's only producing about 0.8 fantasy points per minute. He's not been one of the better players, in terms of this OKC rotation this year. Historically, though, he has benefited a lot from having Chet Holmgren off because they kind of need that guy who, he's not a 4, but he does get similar shot opportunities, similar possessions, and he will either drive and attack the rim or shoot from deep. But Wiggins is one of those guys that I like a lot. I'm surprised I'm so low on him. Fields at 45%. I'm getting 13. It's obviously you got to pay up for somebody somewhere. But to me, I'd rather have Aaron Wiggins than Kenrich Williams and Isaiah Joe off the bench, I think. So I'm going to move some stuff around. But I think for how it looks for Aaron Wiggins, I'm fading him right now. I don't think that holds. And Shout Ugly 8, I thought you were already a member, but Shout Ugly 8 game being a member again. Thank you for being back in the tribe here, if you were not currently. Emmanuel Quickly. So in Stokastic's data, they had not updated yet for Scotty Barnes, who's downgraded to doubtful, which means he's basically not going to play. I had to move minutes around myself before the show, but Quickly seems to be the big winner. Real fast. Oh, you upgraded. Oh, Shout Ugly 8 game for upgrading. Love to hear that. Thank you for doing that. All right. Let's see. We're going to Toronto. Let me pull up the tab so you don't have to look at a different screen. Toronto will do just this year because Ingram being on the team does change the equation pretty meaningfully. We'll take off Barnes. We'll take off Pirtle too. just for funsies. So, with Barnes off the court, along with Pirtle, Brandon Ingram, 1.2 fantasy points minute, along with 31% usage. Decent sample size as well, about 700 possessions. Muglishvili over 1 fantasy point minute. Jamal Shed over 1. Murray Boyles at 0.9. These guys are all gaining a little bit because Scotty Barnes is one of those guys who does a little bit of everything. Let me pull the Stokastic thing off so you guys could see this column a little bit better. Grady Dick, he's playing a lot. He's not great. Jacoby Walter, I think, is one of the bigger minutes winners, but he's not a great producer. With Scotty Barnes and Pirtle off the court, only 0.65 fantasy points a minute. Manuel quickly, though, gets up to 1.2. This is the one I wanted to get to. RJ Barrett as well, up to 1.2. So this is the thing we've talked about with Toronto, where basically all these guys, besides Scotty Barnes, produce around the same range. When Barnes is out, they all also produce around the same range. It just goes up. So they all produce around 1.2 fan sports minute with Barnes off the court. So I think quickly looks like a really good play. I imagine I'll get a lot more when Stokastic updates and he's actually, in their sim player pool a little bit more. But the field's at 4% right now. I'm getting 17. Quickly, a guy, it's a little bit too cheap at 6,300 because I don't think these price tags today expected to not have Scotty Barnes playing. Definitely some risk though with no Barnes. Maybe Toronto gets blown out, but I think Toronto's a good enough team, and I think they have the firepower to keep up between Barrett, Barrett, Ingram, and Quickly, and then their bench guys were okay too. So I think for Quickly, he's going to be a more priority play when things update. Jamal Murray, despite being 10K, still technically a top value as a 5.5x guy. Keyshawn George back in the lineup with no CJ McCollum, gets a little bit of a rate uptick. Stokastic has him playing 29 minutes. He is coming off that injury, but I hope he could play that much. Fields at 14%. I'm getting 24. Again, a lot of usage go around without McCollum out there. He's been the highest usage guy on Washington overall besides Sarr and Keyshawn George. Dylan Brooks getting 17%, Fields at 6%. But really the OKC value is the main thing right now. If anything opens up, it'll start to look a little bit different, but you still get OKC a ton no matter what. We're going to go game by game here, guys. And of course, this is one of the things that you can get if you join the Squirt Squad tier down below. You get a version of this screen minus Stokastic's data. So do that down below. Do that down below. Join for $5 if you want to support the show and be in the live chat. If you want to get my data updated throughout the night during one of the Squirt Squad tiers, you'll get this very screen that I show you here throughout the show. Of course, also make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You guys know the deal here at this point. And check out Stokastic. Their data has not been updated. The stuff that's in the sheet here has been updated since 8:45 or so this morning. But there will be updates coming up, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled there by being a member at Stokastic and using that promo code SPLASH to get 15% off any cheap package, any expensive package, or any weekly or monthly as well. Whatever you want, it's all 15% off. All right. We got Toronto, 107 implied points. Boston, 116.5. So, again, the data hasn't fully caught up for not having Barnes in. I made my best guess at minutes. Gave Jacoby Walter the start. Agbaji getting a minutes uptick, but it might be Grady Dick getting more. Not really sure how that goes. But I think for the key things here, it's going to be Ingram, Barrett, and Quickly gaining the most here. I have these guys all above the field by a little bit. My projections for all these guys a little bit higher. Barrett's been the worst producer of the group. But I think he should be fine today at 6,500 and small forward. I would favor Quickly. Think he's going to be the one that really pops up a lot for me. I'd like Ingram number 2, but Barrett at 6,500. Those 3 I think you want to get more in the field of. Murray Boyles can do a lot more peripherally without having Barnes out there. He does get some rebounds, some assists. The usage is never going to get that high for him with the other 3 big usage guys on the team and available. But for Murray Boyles, assuming that we get a start here again, I think it'll look good for him. And really, you make the case that his production is the reason that Jacoby Walter is so much worse this year. But I do think Jacoby Walter, good shot to start today. He's point guard, shooting guard too. Used to be a shooting guard, small forward. One of these two, though, if I had to guess, Walter and Agbaji start. Neither will look that good, but they will be cheap. Boston, decent total on their end, playing a Toronto team that is a little bit above league average defensively, but without Barnes, probably loses a few points on that. Jaylen Brown, 10% ownership for the field. I'm getting 27. Derek White, 13% for the field. I'm getting 19. Not really a huge stance here, though. Jaylen Brown, a 2.5x stand for sure. But I think for Boston, they look okay here. I'm going to want to get some Toronto guys, so getting a bring back of Brown, Derek White. Nice way to not play Jamal Murray on the slate. Or I guess play him with him if you can somehow. Philadelphia with Joel Embiid expected to be in, not seeing a lot here. I did not juice Embiid's rates, but it does seem like a spot against Orlando, who's a similarly paced team, defensively minded. I feel like that's kind of the Embiid spot you want to go to. Same thing I talked about yesterday with Cooper Flagg, where I really like the matchup for him versus Utah. Was part of the reason I talked about fading AD relative to the field, and he did fucking go to the locker room too. That fucking piece of shit. What a slate. But Cooper Flagg went nuts, low pace spot. He can sort of work his magic a little bit more when it's not a team that's moving super fast. And it's also shitty defense. For Philadelphia, I think for Embiid, like, it's tough defense theoretically. I mean, they're not as good as they used to be, but it's low pace, and Embiid doesn't like get out of position as much. Like when the pace gets fast for Embiid, that's when he's not where he needs to be. And like, yeah, he could kill it if he gets there and they kind of hold the ball for him to get in a position. But in this kind of spot, like not a high-paced Orlando team, he'll be where he needs to be. He'll be going against Wendell Carter, who's a good defender, but Embiid get him into foul trouble. Embiid could do a lot against him. I wouldn't mind getting some Embiid here, but at 9K, you're not really getting a discount at this point. Maxey seems like the most interesting one right now to me, but, you know, Embiid at 8% ownership, Maxey at 4 for the field. Orlando, I'm getting nothing here, so let's make up some time because we've got a lot of games to get through. But 112 implied points for Orlando. Wendell Carter, about a 5% play. I'm not seeing Banchero hit that OT shot. Still shooting under league average and true shooting by about 3%. So not a guy I'm super stoked to get. The rate's not also jumping up a bunch with Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs out. Both guys still out here, but Orlando more than appropriately priced for that, and also a total that's not that great. New Orleans, 122.5 implied points. Washington, 119. Good totals here on both sides. Slight pace up for New Orleans against Washington, but the big thing is that Trey Murphy right now is a Q tag. If Trey Murphy is not available, Zion will look better, Poole will look better, Fears will look better, Queen will look even better. Queen is a big stand right now for the field, 52% exposure. I'm getting 50 in my top 150. Trey Murphy plays. I think he also looks good. He's just been knocking down everything. 64% true shooting for Trey Murphy. Again, he deserves to be on a team that's actually competing for something, but on the Pelicans, like he's a key part of their offense. So if he's out there against Washington, he's a good play. But Queen, Zion, these are the ones I watch out for. Zion's a little bit hard to trust for the same reasons LaMelo would be hard to trust yesterday. But, you know, the minutes limit, not as low as it is for LaMelo, and he certainly can kill it per minute against a team like Washington. Washington, as we talked about, they have not acquired Trae Young yet, though reports are he might not even play much this season, which is kind of odd. But they want to tank for their pick and make sure they keep it because I think if it gets too high, they lose it. But for Washington here, Alex Sarr fields at 26%. I'm getting 21. Keyshawn George fields at 14%. I'm getting 24. Koulibaly fields at 17%. I'm getting 11. My projection also about 1.5 lower on Koulibaly. Getting Keyshawn George in makes those secondary Washington pieces to me much less appealing. Where you have Bub Carrington, you have Trey Johnson. Those guys, I think, need a Keyshawn George to not be available. It's got to get the looks they need to pay off at their price tags. But I think Sarr and George are the main ones I feel comfortable with. If they're in 20%, 25% of my lineups, even more than that, wouldn't be mad at it. It's a good spot here with two teams that don't play defense, but they're also, you know, not the best teams in basketball. Good totals, though. Clippers, 110 implied points. Brooklyn, 105.5. Not a lot of love here. Clippers total's pretty low. Brooklyn defense, also not really as bad as people think either. 117 points given up per 100. It's actually better than the Clippers have been this year, which is kind of crazy. But two low-paced teams is why, to me, this spot is not that great. Getting Kawhi, fine. Getting Harden, revenge game in Brooklyn, fine. Zubac, 12% against a Brooklyn team that can miss shots, fine. But none of them are great plays. If you got to mix in, they're fine. Michael Porter Jr., who Georgia was so desperately to see amongst the top guys. Not everybody can be a top projected player. I do have Porter Jr., though, 4 points higher than Stokastic. That said, 8,700, he is a little bit overpriced at this point. He is technically a 5x value. He could definitely be a guy that looks good versus the Clippers. Happy to get 9% here, but there is a reason he is at a 3.5% expected ownership, and that is because he is now more than appropriately priced, and there also are a lot of trade rumors floating around him. So for Michael Porter Jr., getting it on both sides, don't think you'd want to go nuts on a guy in a low-pace spot with a low total. That is one of the basic rules of NBA DFS and NFL DFS. Oklahoma City, 117.5 implied points. Memphis, 112. OKC, I feel like we've talked about enough, but we'll go through all the numbers again. Jalen Williams getting 59% for the field. I'm getting 62. AJ Mitchell, I'm getting 96%, basically every lineup. Fields at 83. Aaron Wiggins, 45%. Ownership for me, Fields at 13 for, actually, no, I did it backwards. Fields at 45%, I'm at 13. Wiggins just a guy that's not making lineups as easily for me because of the fact there are other guys I'm getting to his values. That said, I would really like to knock this Kenrich number down, get more Wiggins, get less Kenrich, but still be above the field on at least one of them. Having trouble accessing the Discord. Just click the link in the description. It should be easy. Just sync your YouTube and the settings to your Discord. But that's, there's 9, like everybody's joining every day on there. The members have been going up a lot. So I know it works. So just keep clicking and you'll figure it out. But yeah, for OKC, anybody you get here, I'm not going to critique. Caruso would be the one I'm not super stoked about. Just don't think he plays a lot of minutes at a game where they're clearly phoning it in. And I also don't think he plays today, which will make everything else here look better. I don't know why he would when you have all the key players out. But Caruso, not coming up for me. Dort, not coming up for me. Everybody else, though, roll the dice, play whoever you want. But it's really Jalen Williams, AJ Mitchell, Brandon Carlson are the key ones for me. Then Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, I would say the second tier. Isaiah Joe, a little bit behind that, but close enough. Memphis, 112 implied points here. With no Ja Morant, trade rumors starting to kick up around him. He might not play for the Grizzlies again. Getting Cam Spencer 2x the field. That's cool. Getting Jock Landale at 9%, the field's at 7. That's fine. He's playing enough minutes lately. And OKC is definitely depleted enough that you could take that shot. Frankly, Memphis should probably project a little bit better than they do because OKC is clearly not the same OKC they're normally going to be. That total sucks for Memphis at 112 implied points, so hard to really make the case for much here. Cam Spencer, I'm okay with. The matchup definitely has gotten better for him from having so many guys out for the Thunder. Knicks, 115 implied points. Phoenix, 113.5. Jalen Brunson, a nice pivot to the chalkier guards, but that's really the main reason to get there, I think. Fields at 20%. That's enough ownership to me. I'm only getting 13. Cat at 14% ownership. I'm getting 11. Definitely a way to get different from that Brandon Carlson chalk would be to play a guy like Cat at center instead. Get off the beaten path of that price tier entirely. But Cat, not a priority play, even though Phoenix, him against Mark Williams, I think that is a good match for Towns on paper. Nobody else here popping up too much. Anunoby's going to be 5% owned. McBride at 8. You got better values in the slate than McBride, but he's okay. On another slate, he'd be like the best value play in the slate. Today, he is just the guy. Phoenix with their 113.5. Devin Booker playing so shittily on the year for a star player, just league average shooting. 1.2 fan sports a minute. Okay usage, okay assists, but he's been so disappointing in the spot. You know, granted, the other Phoenix guards are getting good usage up. Dylan Brooks keeps getting shots up. That's why I'm getting 17%. The field's at 6. Mark Williams getting 6%. Fields at 6. Nothing really for me on Phoenix. Atlanta, 116 implied points. Denver, 117.5. Denver favored here, despite no Jokic, no Joval. But Jalen Johnson, 15% ownership for the field. I'm with that. Everything else not really coming up for me. Atlanta now more than appropriately priced. Feels like they jacked the prices up even further for Trae Young being officially off the team. And you have no McCollum still, so they don't look that good. Jalen Johnson, though, definitely has a ceiling no matter what. I do feel like this is anecdotal. So let me see if I can log in real fast. I feel like one of his 70-point games was against Denver earlier this year. Let's see. Here's the game logs on the solver. Yeah, he put up 75 versus Denver at the beginning of December. So that was a game with Jokic, and he put up 18 boards and 16 assists at home with 21 real-life points. Again, prior results against the team doesn't matter very much, but for Jalen Johnson, you know, he did go nuts against them once already. But for Denver's side, again, Jamal Murray, if you get to him, he looks good. I'm getting him in 48% of my lineups. Fields at 36. Peyton Watson getting 6%. Fields at 1. I'm getting a lot of Peyton Watson because Aaron Gordon's still minutes limited. Christian Brown's been a bad producer. And Peyton Watson's been great with Jokic off the court. It's not a big stand for me right now at 6%. My projection is crazy high for him. I have him 8 fantasy points higher. I don't think that's going to hold. I got to say, though, I was watching that Denver game the other day when everybody was out. I was really impressed by Peyton Watson. I haven't watched a ton of him this year because, I mean, I've watched Denver games. I feel like it's usually when Jokic is playing and Peyton Watson's not doing a lot. But man, he's like a really good shooter. 62% true shooting on the year. And like, he can get some gnarly mid-rangers, like some fades. Like he's really good. So I don't want to get this much Peyton Watson projection at 38. I'll probably move that around a little bit. But he's been good. He's been good. Sacramento. This is our late slate stuff. So if you want to see the projection for Sacramento Golden State, here it is. You got Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder being owned a good amount in this late slate. Golden State, whatever. Bunch of guys. Houston, Portland. Houston, pretty flat ownership for all these guys. Still no Şengün for Houston. Portland on their side, still no Drew Holiday. He's doubtful. Still no Jeremy Grant. So Jenny Avdia going to be your best play here, and I would keep playing him even against Houston. He somehow succeeds in every matchup, including really tough defenses. OKC being one of the famous ones we've talked about enough. Milwaukee here, Giannis looks okay. Ryan Rollins playing big minutes, still doesn't project super well for me at his price tag coming up. Lakers, if LeBron is out, Luka's going to look awesome. With LeBron in, Luka also looks good. LeBron also would be playable if you get him playing today. He's still not rebounding a lot, but is putting up more usage and assist upside. But that's your late slate. All right, let's go to Stokastic next. Let's run a sim without my interference. Let's also see if they've updated their data. And they have not yet. So Scotty Barnes still going to be in this data set. That's okay. The Toronto stuff will look a little bit different, but everything else should be the same on the slate. And again, you guys know the deal. Between segments, we got to ask. Hit that like button and subscribe, guys. Goes a long way for me here. My back hurts from doing from streaming the last 3 hours, basically. But yet I am still here, clicking all these buttons, trying to stretch loosely down here at the same time. But I'm showing up and doing the work, as I always do here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So please help me out. Hit that like button and subscribe. It does go a long way for me here. Just one independent creator doing the work of a million. Sometimes it feels like. But check out Stokastic, not a million, probably like 2. Maybe 3. Stokastic, 15% off, link down below as well. Use that promo code SPLASH to get over there, or when you get over there, and you'll get that discount off immediately. It is a great deal because it's the only deal they have going. So you want to get their sim stuff, you want to get the most idiot-proof way to build better lineups, and use it, please. Like, don't pay for it and then not use it. It drives me nuts when people do that. But check out Stokastic. They keep churning out Millie Maker winners, big tournament winners. Obviously in NBA, we don't have a lot of Millie Makers, but you know the deal. Like, they're really good at what they do. It is more market-based opposed to my, bespoke approach, we'll call it. So keep that in mind, but great products over at Stokastic. Check them out. If you want to get better at NBA DFS, that is the fastest way to do it. And last but not least, join the Discord here. $5 to be in part of the live chat or to get into the Discord. And if you want my projections, join one of the Squirt Squad tiers. You can see that data updated throughout the night. Yeehaw. Top projected plays, or top ROI lineups. That is not the right thing to say. Top ROI lineups. We got Jeremiah Fears, Keyshawn George, Aaron Wiggins, Derek Queen, Alex Sarr, AJ Mitchell, Jalen Johnson, Mark Williams makes it. So nothing crazy here. Some guys I'm maybe a little bit surprised by. Fears, seeing him with Murphy in the data set, a little bit of surprise. But nice balanced build. And we like the spot for New Orleans going against Washington. Peyton Pritchard at number 2, Cam Spencer, Bilal Coulibaly, Derek Queen, Alex Sarr, AJ Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Brandon Carlson. So Carlson didn't make that first lineup. They tried to get a little more unique at center, but here you are getting both your value Thunder with AJ Mitchell, Brandon Carlson, and that's all the Thunder you're getting. Number 3, AJ Mitchell, Isaiah Joe, Jalen Williams, Zion Williamson, Alexander Sarr, Miles McBride, Jalen Johnson, Brandon Carlson. So we are playing our OKC value. We're also playing Miles McBride, who, as I mentioned, on another slate would be a value everybody would cram in at 4,400. And that allows you to afford Zion, Jalen Johnson, and Sarr, and the other Jalen. That's good stuff. I like that lineup. Number 4, AJ Mitchell, Isaiah Joe. Joe is like the toughest part of these lineups right now. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Zion Williamson, Wendell Carter, Jamal Murray, Derek Queen, Alex Sarr. You're getting off Carlson, going Wendell Carter's way instead, and Sarr's way. And then you're playing the other Thunder value. That works. Number 5, AJ Mitchell again. He's in all the top 5. Yeehaw, AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell, Cam Spencer, Jaylen Brown, Derek Queen, Alex Sarr, Jalen Brunson, Kenrich Williams coming off the bench, Brandon Carlson, the starting center there. I like both those guys. Do feel like I have Kenrich Williams a little bit overprojected. Brandon Carlson and AJ Mitchell, to me, should be the first 2 guys you put in. Derek Queen, really not that far behind based on what the data is and what these lineups look like. Highest ROI players, Alex Sarr, number 1, Jalen Johnson, number 2, Zion at number 3, Kenrich Williams, number 4. That is interesting to see. He is your most direct pivot off Brandon Carlson, I suppose. Number 5, Dyson Daniels, Isaiah Joe, not too far behind. Cam Spencer, not too far behind. Bilal Coulibaly and Derek Queen, a little bit further behind. Highest exposed players overall. AJ Mitchell's in 99% of Stokastic's top 150. Look, I said it before, I don't think he's like a classic lock button play where he's, $3K minimum salary. He's a big man who gets a lot of rebounds and whatever, and he's going to start. But he is a point guard who's produced like 1.1-ish fantasy points a minute with SGA and these guys in. Now they're off. He'll be able to do whatever he wants out there. Can add some steals on paper. Like AJ Mitchell a lot. Fields at 84%. I'm cool with Stokastic being over. And if he makes it at every line of mine, it is what it is. Game theory-wise, if you want to play him in half your lineups, again, that's also fine too. Alex Sarr, 67% exposure for Stokastic, Fields at 27. Their projection at 42.2 is a little bit higher than mine, but going against the Pelicans, for Alex Sarr, definitely a good spot. You get some theoretical leverage against a chalkier Derek Queen, so I get that as well. But Sarr, you're getting 40% above the field here. Really big stand with him being in 2/3 of the lineups. Derek Queen also in 2/3 of the lineups, compared to the field's 50%. So another good play here. Spot versus Washington, about as clean as you can get. Aaron Wiggins, 61% exposure, Fields at 49. Wiggins has been a lot better historically than he's been this year. I'm going to try to find the middle ground for myself. I don't think he's a play to go jamming like crazy. I love Wiggins, though. He is like a really good player when there is sort of a usage vacuum. So to me, getting to half your lineups with Wiggins is going to be a thing I try to accomplish, but I don't think I'll get more than that. Brandon Carlson as a value center, 3,500, could play high 20s minutes, more likely in Stokastic data playing mid 20s to, low to mid, let's say. Carlson at 3,500, certainly a minutes risk. You could lose minutes to Kenrich Williams if they go small, but the Memphis lineup does seem like it requires you to go big a little bit more just because of the guys they have, even without Edey. So for Brandon Carlson, I think he gets the minutes here. I want to be way above this number at 56%, but Stokastic is only a little bit above it at 61. Your highest leverage play is Alex Sarr, 40% above the field. Jalen Johnson, 22% above the field. He's in 37% of Stokastic's top 150 lineups, and the field is at 15% expected ownership. Derek Queen, you're getting 15% leverage on, 65%. The field's at 50, like we talked about. AJ Mitchell, 14% leverage. He's in almost every lineup at 99%. Zion Williamson, 13% leverage. He is getting played in a third of the lineups for Stokastic's top 150, and the field's at 20. And Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, not too far behind Zion. They both have 10% plus leverage. Wow, they're fading Jalen Williams. Okay. So Jalen Williams, Stokastic moving away from only 27% exposure. The field's at 59. I mean, look, for me, fundamentally, I don't really want to be low on any of the on any of these guys. So for Jalen Williams, that's a really big stand against him. I don't see any of these guys for the Thunder that like really matter, by which I mean Mitchell is gonna be in all my shit. He's my guy. He's gonna be in all my shit. Brandon Carlson, he's not my guy, but I know what the team needs. They need a big man. He's gonna be a lot of my shit. Jalen Williams will not be in all of my shit, but he's gonna be in like half my lineups at least. So I don't agree with a 33% negative leverage play on him, but it is what it is. Jamal Murray, negative 15% leverage, only 21% exposure. Fields at 36. He is expensive, but the field's gonna be there. I think holding hands to the field, being a little bit above it. I mean, he was in half my lineups, so I don't have an issue with that. Alex Caruso, they are fading, only 4% exposure, fields at 11. Really don't think he should play, but if he does, he also doesn't look like that great of a play. Trey Johnson, negative 7% leverage, only 2% exposure, fields at 9. He just doesn't look that good with Keyshawn George coming back in. And Devin Booker, like we talked about, just nothing special this year. He'll occasionally hit a ceiling game. Maybe he does it today versus the Knicks, but negative 7% leverage. He's only in about 7% of lineups, and the field's at 13. All right, Handy coming up next, guys. Didn't get to do it on the NFL stream today because had to do 2 playoff slates back to back, but here you will get a taste of my sweet hand. And let's sort this here. All right. Well, I think we know the point guard's going to be, right? We're playing along at home. It's AJ Mitchell. I'm sure there's somebody out there in the abyss yelling into the chat, maybe from a banned account, going, "Yeah, you're above market on AJ Mitchell by 0.3." But AJ Mitchell, as you guys will recall, going to the beginning parts of the NBA year, he was popping in my lineups a lot. He was popping in my data a lot. Then OKC got healthier. That stopped being the case. Now they are not healthy because a bunch of guys are sitting out. So this is when we go to AJ Mitchell, who plays the most bootleg version of SGA when he is out there, but he gets that opportunity, and that's AJ Mitchell. So he is our point guard. Shooting guard today. I think for me, it'd be Keyshawn George. Stokastic won't like Brandon Ingram as much because they still have Scotty Barnes in the data set, but Ingram would also be a consideration for me here. Wiggins isn't a shooting guard. Yeah, let's go Keyshawn. Facing the Pelicans, some peripherals. I'm also going to put in Carlson at center so I have a better read on how much money I have left, because Carlson just projects too well for me, and he'll be a guy that gets into my lineups more often than not with a 26.4 projection at 3,500. Derek Queen's going to be my power forward here. We know the sim likes him, and I like him as well. Small forward for me would be Jalen Williams. So I'm going to do that. I'm going Jalen Williams' way. 3 spots left, 7,200 left for them. Who do I really want here? I mean, I do think getting Wiggins in seems like an okay move. So I'm going to do that. And I think my data would want Jamal Murray. I could get more creative here and play something that's not Jamal Murray, lose some ownership. but I'm just going to play him. Now we have 7,500 left. We get Anthony Black, Alex Sarr. I like Sarr. The sim likes Sarr too. All right. Team here that we're simming out. I think it's going to sim well. AJ Mitchell, Keyshawn George, Jalen Williams, Derek Queen, Brandon Carlson, Jamal Murray, Aaron Wiggins, Alexander Sarr. Only a 34% ROI. Oh, because they don't like Jalen Williams. They don't like Keyshawn George. Let's take these two out. Complete the lineup for me. They go the same guys. They go Keyshawn George and Jalen Williams. So what do you want me to change here? All right, here, let's take off 3 of these guys. We'll take off Jamal Murray, Keyshawn, and Jalen. All right, now complete the lineup. And it gives me the exact same thing. All right, I guess that's the lineup then. If Stokastic can't improve upon my core, then that's that. I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day. Before I do that, one last ask, guys. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Again, it is a big deal for me. I'm just one guy burning myself to the nub by doing these videos every day, but I enjoy it. I'm doing it anyway because I'm gambling on these DFS slates, and that's the process here. But of course, I am here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. And of course, I'll be on Stokastic Live Before Lock tonight. I will be on their Live Before Lock for NBA tomorrow as well. I keep doing the work for NBA, and if you come along for the ride, I think you'll get some value out of it. So hit the like button, subscribe, please do that. Check out Stokastic as well, 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. A link down below if you want to go over there and then use that promo code when you do go to pay, because you have to actually enter it manually as opposed to the old way where you'd get the link and it would work. But go check it out. Again, cheap packages, expensive packages. Get the sims in your life, really, for a lot of you guys, especially where like you don't know how to project stuff. You don't want to do that work. Just get good lineups in without a lot of thought. Then filter for players that you want to get in those highest ROI lineups. Do it that way, but like just don't do the same hand build shit that you've been doing, because we see it happen. It's not usually that good. And of course, join the Discord too. $5 to join if you want to join as a supporter. You get access to a Discord. You also get access to the live chats here when I'm recording these videos live on stream. But also, you get the Squirt Squad tiers down below where you can get my data updated throughout the night. And really, my data has been playing pretty well lately, other than when one game goes bye-bye, like yesterday. Splash plays for the day. It may shock you to hear AJ Mitchell. Look at this beautiful boy. That's your splash play of the day, really. Him, Brandon Carlson, those two are going to be the first ones in most of my lineups. Derek Queen, I'm right there with. He would definitely be another one. I still like Jalen Williams. Stokastic doesn't. But small forward to me just doesn't look that good. I think there's a bunch of okay plays, but Jalen Williams is like a great play. So I'm still very cool with Jalen Williams as the other Thunder player. Besides these guys, I mean, Emmanuel Quickly, I think, will be a splash play when everything updates. So I'll plant a flag for that now. Brandon Ingram to a lesser extent. And I think that's it. I mean, just get a bunch of Thunder guys. Like, that's also just part of just mix in Thunder guys, rotate them around, mix some pay up options. But I think that's the slate. I think that's it. So make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets or at Splash Play Pod on YouTube. You can see my NFL and my NBA content. If you need any similar process here for the NFL slates this weekend, check out the at Splash Play Pod channel, because I did go to the Sunday slate and the Saturday slate, going through projections, running sims across ETR and Stokastic. So there's good stuff over there if you want to play some NFL this weekend too. And again, I'll be on Stokastic today, live before lock for NBA. Tomorrow, live before lock for NBA. Sunday, NFL, live before lock as well. So the work continues on, boys, but gamble responsibly, even though it is always money time, like I said. And where the fuck? Oh, this fucking thing. StreamYard, I can't hit the outro. Motherfuckers. Well, I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. And pretend there's a song playing when I hit end stream, all right? Bye, guys.